So recently I've been thinking about how the red and blue shifts of the spectrum are evidence of expansion and contraction and happening all across all scales of information, how it's shown back to us as evidence, and that we are like the prism of our own eye, each pupil, each person functions like a black hole that gathers light and data. The more adept we become at pattern recognition, the more we can see that these symbols are coming from the flow of electromagnetism and the way the system is created. It shows itself on as many levels as we can perceive, but it's just pattern recognition. It doesn't mean enlightenment or being above the system. It simply means we're seeing the mechanics and the composition that we are rendered within, woven within, animating, or passing through, however you want to say it. The Fibonacci sequence, the golden ratio, the phi ratio of the cosmic egg, the torus, all of these things are reflections of the same underlying design, repeated through every level of reality. What's interesting to me also is how the field seems to respond quickly or slowly, how reality presents data back to you in direct ways. Last night I made a video about plasma, the squatter man symbol, and how the Dogon tribe described plasmoid forms that were sentient but not yet immaterial, conveying information. This morning I had planned to stay offline and meditate. The first thing I saw when I opened my iPad was a live stream about the Dogon tribe and the Nomo. The person speaking was wearing a hat with the squatter man symbol on it, the same one I had just been talking about. He didn't mention the connection and didn't know the connection, so I joined the live and told him. It felt like a test placed in front of me, and even though I noticed, I still participated. Later, I joined another live conversation where they were discussing black holes and plasma and the torus and the black sun, and when I mentioned the video, someone asked, "Did you talk about plasmoids?" I said yes, and he said, "The universe is always giving me exactly what I'm looking for at the right time." And that mirrored to me what had just happened for me earlier. It showed me how the field presents exactly the next thing that matches what we were already thinking about. We're setting the breadcrumbs up for ourselves. I started to notice how the more we focus on certain symbols or theories, the more the field mirrors them back to us for confirmation. It becomes a feedback loop. At first it feels like progress, but it can also be a trap because we're only being shown what we already think we know. And to expand beyond that, it helps to take a step away from the feedback and make room for gnosis, the kind of knowing that appears on its own without being summoned. And when we step out of the cycle of expansion and contraction, even briefly, something new can enter, or even the sense of freedom in that quiet space that feels like a neutral zone where we aren't feeding the system or being fed by it, and it collapses around us. Synchronicities can be exciting, but they're often signs that we are in rhythm with the system and our connection to it, which doesn't necessarily mean freedom. So this is a reminder for myself and anyone else. Although I've been aware of it for years, talking about it is good medicine. Take breaks from the excitement and the search for new information. Every time we chase a new spark of data or theory, I feel we're keeping our circuit charged and synced up with the system that we're in. So the importance of resting inside the pause and the stillness, giving the system a chance to quiet for yourself, and from there awareness becomes less reactive, and we can sense into these spaces of newfound freedom and familiarize ourselves with it and what it feels to be a smaller field within a larger environment that isn't responding based on what we are producing. There is no connection, no feedback loop. The informational Ouroboros is non-existent.